So they always say that the devil is in the detail. This is the breakdown. My name is Amayanja Fazil. Now, the bombings that are happening in Uganda, unfortunately, so many people are not looking at the details. And the media, both locally and internationally, either by design or they are part of this big conspiracy, they only just look at they just look at the entire headline that, oh, bombings in Uganda, but they don't get into the details. And that's why we are here, to get into these particular details. Now, the first detail that we are getting into today is about the picture you see on the screen there, about the blast that happened at the Central Police Station in Kampala of the gentleman that was carrying a backpack and he blew himself up. Most people have looked at this video frame by frame, and then they managed to capture that particular image that has been making rounds on social media that has prompted so many questions. You see a straight line of the entire blast, on how the bomb was, exploding. And some people were thinking that maybe that is, edited or that kind of stuff. And then I was like, okay, I'll look at the image and try to draw a bit of conclusions, and also look at the CCTVs that the police has been releasing left, right, and center, trying to break them down and get into the detail and try to analyze them. So this is the first footage that we are looking at, the issue that happened at the Central Police Station, where this person allegedly blew himself up. Now, I have a couple of questions. First of all, personally, I also thought that this gentleman was, at first I thought that this gentleman, maybe was he a victim or was he the bomber himself intentionally? Because look here, I've lived in Uganda for quite a long time, not to trust any statement that is being said by the Uganda police. I always have to find out for my own self. Now, when I look at this image, I thought that there is a possibility that the bomb might have been planted there already. There's that possibility, number one. Like you see where the tree is, right? There's a possibility that at that checkpoint, that is where the bomb was, number one. Number two, there is a possibility that this gentleman was carrying a backpack, maybe not knowing that it had a bomb in it. Because if the gentleman was actually targeting the CPS, why did he have to move past the entrance and not just go straight into the police station and maybe blow the entire police station up? But why would he just stand somewhere just next to a police station where you can, where you can do the least amount of damage, RIP to the people who died, but where you can do the least amount of damage and then, detonate the bomb from there? Now, there's a possibility that the person was carrying a backpack without knowing what was in the backpack, and maybe someone just blew that out. And because the investigations in Uganda are very shoddy, they conclude before making investigations, because now investigations have started, but already they have made the conclusions. They have already identified the person who actually blew himself up, number one, whereby you can literally find nothing, with exceptions of pieces of meat or fresh that you can pick up here and there. So these people have managed to carry out DNA tests and they have identified him. This is according to Museveni's tweet. And in his tweet, he said that the person has been identified as Moses Mudasiru. And he says that they have been looking for this gentleman. But what is interesting is we have no face of Moses Mudasiru. And I'm really fascinated to know that, to understand that the people have already identified a person who has no face already, number one. Okay, now this image, as we see it, was the bomb from the backpack, or was the bomb already placed there? Now, when I looked at that image at first, I thought that maybe the bomb could have been there at first, right? and then it was just detonated at the checkpoint. But then I looked at this other image, the one that you see over there. When you see that image, that is taken from a different angle. And when you look at the tarmac, you can see the black stuff that was spreading, all over to the checkpoint. Now, that got me to my own conclusion to understand that the person carrying the backpack, actually, that is where the explosion came from. That is just from my own analysis. But then, I still went back to the question, was the person a victim, or was he still the same person who was carrying out, this particular attack? Because look here, to explain this, you need to look at the other bomb that exploded at Jubilee Parliamentary Avenue, where two people who were riding motorcycles, all of a sudden, they blew themselves up where there was literally no one around the area. And you're like, but just a few meters ahead, there was a border stage and all this kind of stuff. So two things are likely: that these people were carrying stuff that they didn't know, they were bombs, or these bombs were planted in these areas, and by the time these people were passing by, the detonations happened. Number one. Now, things get murky when, even if you give these people a benefit of doubt, when cameras around the entire city are not able to track these people and their movements, but they are only showing us when the explosions were happening. Look here, Kampala has the most cameras, I think, in any capital city around the East African region. We invested almost 90 billion Ugandan shillings in this camera infrastructure. And you tell me that the only footage you can get is the cameras at CPS, but you are not able to track before the events at CPS. What are you trying to hide? You're not able to track before the events, these two motorcycle men blew themselves up. That is interesting. But what is also very, very interesting is the idea that these people are now able to show us camera footage to convince Ugandans that, look here, these guys actually, did this thing, which is really, which is the right thing to do. But the problem with that is, whenever you come out with such footages and you are unprepared, people are likely to watch and get out as many things as possible. And then they will also ask past questions. That if at all you manage to identify these people, you are using these cameras, how can you convince me that you, up to 1 year later, because they are also trying to divert us from one other issue of the November 19th and 18th killings, where 64 people were murdered by the state. And they said recently, the Deputy Inspector General of the Police also doubles as the spokesperson, Mr. Geoffrey Enanga. Enanga said, for those of you who don't speak the local language, you can just call him Mr. Piano, because that's what it means in English. So the Piano said that they are not able to investigate and to bring the perpetrators of the murders of November 18th and 19th last year. They are not able to bring them to book because they are looking for a bullet. They don't have a single bullet that got stuck in any person, or they don't have a single bullet where they can start their investigations from. Mr. Nanga, that day, were the cameras working or not working? That day, did you deploy people or did you not? People, where were they deployed in one way or the other? Also, in this particular attack, we see that the attack has not been given the level of urgency, the level of seriousness that anyone would have expected for it to be given. So that clearly indicates that to Museveni, terrorism or bomb blasts and explosions happening in the city is not such a big attack as it is with the opposition. Because if you look at the security or the reaction that Museveni gives if Bobi Wine is going somewhere, or if Mr. Chagulanyi has decided to do a particular event, they have those people with the Israel guns, the As-Galil and all these S-Galil guns and all these big guns. They even bring those big dogs. But you see today they brought dogs that they were even hungry. The dogs were moving in different direction, eating from the streets, garbage, because they were hungry. They are not being fed. But if it was Bobi Wine passing through, oh my God, people would not even, do anything. So, this particular bomber, was he a victim? Or was he the perpetrator? We need to ask questions. What happened before he reached CPS? Where is the footage? Because the camera that we see here is the camera of CPS. And until we get that footage, people are still going to believe that this person was planted by you, the Uganda police. This person is part of you, and this person might be innocent. And this trend of suicide bombers blowing themselves up, are they protesting or what? Because we don't understand someone blowing himself up and literally nothing is like he kills one person here, he kills one person there. The other one blew himself up in a bus and he's the only one who passed away. And they are able to identify all these bombers. Now, the bus incident is also interesting because there is a likelihood that the bomb must have been there before that person. And because these people are dead, they cannot tell their story. That is why these people are trying to sell us this particular narrative. That is why you see that General Katumba Wamala has never come out to say that it is the ADF that attacked him. Because he knows. And now you will see soon when they are trying to make Katumba Wamala to make a statement about the ADF. Because Katumba Wamala knows the person who attacked him. It was not the ADF. And then they are going to come up with another statement that ADF has claimed the attack in their Telegram group. As they said in the previous incident. We know these tricks. We know what is going on. And now that I've opened a case against Museveni and his crime empire, I'm going to follow this particular incident to the letter. And trust me, people are going to get your inconsistencies. I'm not here to look out for inconsistencies, by the way. I want to believe you. I want to believe all this scare. But this doesn't look like a very big scare to Museveni and his crime empire. The terrorism, no. But they are making it as big as it can get. And yet, when you look at the amount of force that they put on the opposition, literally, I mean, it is really, really so huge than the amount of force that they are putting on the ADF. And now, as I wind up this video, we are going to ask the big question, the $1 million question. And I will tell you this, no one in Uganda can answer this particular question. And the question is, what is the motive of the ADF? What does the ADF want? Does it want to take over power in Uganda? Does it want to establish a caliphate in Central African Republic? There is no person. They will speak ADF is the attacked, ADF attacked. But no one will tell us what is the motive of the ADF. Coming up in the next video. So if you want to know what the motive of the ADF is and what the government narrative is, it's going to come up in that next video up there. Thank you very much and let us meet in the next one. Have a blessed night. Bye-bye.